Good, Nathan. It's Shadow Witter, one angry pagan here. Going off my last video, I've asked people who know more than I do for some guidance, and I've had zero response. But I'm hoping that they just haven't noticed my communications yet. I don't want to be treated like I'm some kind of joke amongst the pagan community. And there are going to be a bunch of pagans or heathens or wiccas or witches out there, whatever you call yourselves, out there, that are like, could treat me like I'm an interloper in a way. Because I don't come from a theistic background. I didn't come from the way I grew up thinking. I didn't pray to gods or a god. You know, being in England, especially in the southwest, in Devonshire, Devonshire. Got to work out the actual pronunciation of the Anglo-Saxon version of that one, but yeah. Anyway, come back to it. It's there's a fair amount of Christianity in the southwest, but there's also a lot of since I've only really found this out since I got into paganism, or at least my brain got into the mode of wanting to research the origins of people that live on this island. I get this feeling that, again, because for me it was all about dinosaurs and animals. I said this in the last video, it was all about dinosaurs and animals for me. And when I got a little bit older, physics took hold. But gods really it wasn't really a thing, not until I got to like 9, 10, maybe 11. And even then, primarily, it was about gaining knowledge. Now, my argument to those who believe that I'm only pretending to be pagan, I'm on my own path. Now, shadow Shadowita, I'll take two words in turn, okay? Shadow. Okay, now, much of my life, including when I was a kid, was spent in the dark. I like being in the dark. The shadows have always never held any terrors for me. And given my predilection towards paleontology, in particular, that's looking in the dark. You're unearthing, but you're going into the dark. You're digging to find out. Now, there are many that would word it as such, so as to say, you're unearthing it, bringing it out into the light. It's not. I'm still going digging. Whilst I can't go physically digging anymore, and I used to go around. I used to go out looking for fossils. As an amateur paleontologist, I do class myself as an amateur paleontologist. Amateur. But it's not just about fossils, is it? Any proper paleontologist will tell you it's not just about the fossils. It's been a few times I've found prehistoric footprints. And I know they are because of the amount of study I've done watching documentaries, reading different papers on the internet. So scientific papers, oh lad. What do you call them? Journals. For me, this whole thing, for me, it was all about evolution. If you were to boil it down to one thing, which I don't really like doing because I'm not an absolutist, I never really have. I don't like being. I recognise there are absolutes, but I don't believe there are as many other people. Now, this also could set me apart from many theists. I need to be able to converse with someone who knows what I'm talking about here. I really need someone to get back to me on this because I need to be able to. I need to find a clearer way. I need things for to be even darker than they are, so I can see it properly. So for the rest of you, that would be. I need things clear. I need things brightening for the rest of you. Now, the shadow. Again, I went digging, and darkness and shadow have never held any fear for me. The fact that it's in Old English is because I'm English. I have some Mediterranean heritage, but the majority, from what I've been able to gather from the members of my family from either sides that have done genealogy tests, DNA tests, it's largely Celtic and Anglo-Saxon. So, for me, I think it's a sort of syncretic sort of thing, but that's why, to go back to shadow for a second, that's why Old English, because I'm English, and I don't, going through it, there is some, because of this, I think it's due to the Scots, there's some Viking, there's some Scandinavian in our bloodline, but again, from what I saw from several papers, plus the way that Tom Rousel, in his video on haplogroups, was able to shade things out a bit more, so that I could see what haplogroups, I could see that the difference between Anglo-Saxons and Danes wasn't that much, if at all. It's barely imperceptible. It's barely perceptible, I should say. Now, Witta comes from it. Is the singular from Wotan. This was the king's counsellors, wise men. Now, when it came to my spirituality, this is connected. So give me a minute. This would be if this was scripted, I would be doing this the same way. When it comes to my spirituality and the way I think about things in a spiritual way, my mum brought me up spiritualist, so when it comes to spirits and whatnot, I have had contact of different sorts. So it's not like, as a scientist, as someone who comes from a background of science, I'm like anti-spiritualism. It's evidence I've experienced says otherwise, and from everything I hear from other polytheists, especially, a lot of it is about experience, and I am coming from experience. My paganism is largely born from experience and what I've learned from different peoples. Now, there is a shamanism to me, to my beliefs, in the healing aspect, in the community care aspect. To be there for the people of our community, of the community. In the old days when it was smaller groups of, smaller populations, smaller groups of people, it was the village elder, or the village wise man, the village shaman. Today you can find it in, shaman is a bit of a weird one to use, though, because it's a borrowed term in of itself. However, pagan is a borrowed term in of itself, but we pagans call ourselves pagan nonetheless, don't we? So, or heathen is a borrowed term, but we call ourselves heathen nonetheless. But bringing it back, my shamanism, again, it's also why I arrived at a more solid idea around what I believe spiritually before I started thinking about politics, and it forms my belief in socialism. My shamanism, my belief in helping people, healing people, gaining and sharing knowledge to people who need, especially when it's needed. That forms my socialism, because socialism is about the people, just on a larger scale, especially now, in the modern day. Now, this is where the Wicca comes in, because wise man, counselor, shaman, to me, these terms can be interchangeable. Now, I would, again, I need to be able to sit and have a debate with someone so I can really hash this out. But Wicca, to me, wise man, counselor, the Wotan with the king's counselors, the king's wise men. Yeah. Now, in the modern day, I don't bow to the king. I'm the king's wise man. I am a wise man for the people. It is in this socialist bent in that sense. But again, my socialism is born from from my belief in helping the community and helping the people around me. Not just in my personal circle, but in the community around me. So, taken together, Shadow Wita, Shadow Wise Man. Now, it's also inspired by the name. It came upon me when I first started getting into politics. So, how do I put this? I've been on multiple paths. We're all on multiple paths at once. But because I did not come from a theistic background of God first, spirituality first, it was about knowledge first. Now I'm going to get to gods in a minute, because I want to tie in my last video to this. I just wanted to clear some things up, because I need help hashing this out so I can try and find a clear way forward. Because I'm not atheist. I don't believe that there are no gods. I used to believe, and technically not all that long ago, I used to believe that the gods were non-anthropomorphic. I could not, in a scientific sense, I could not get my head in it. From my understanding of evolution and not just biological evolution, but from my understanding of the Big Bang till now, I could not understand anthropomorphic theism. And it's been cleared up over the past, I don't know, about a year. It's not cleared, there's still some bright spots where I'm like, I can't see, I can't quite see, I can't figure it. But I think I'm getting there. Because, step back, going back to the earlier episode, my gods weren't anthropomorphic. They were the elements. I believed that my gods were not. I didn't pray to them in the same. Whilst I paid homage to the gods that my ancestors would have prayed to, it didn't occur to me to pray in the sense of for me. I've had a connection with nature for such a long time. I grew up in a countryside city, Exeter. There's so much green everywhere. And I'm talking about weed, I'm talking about the countryside. A lot of places I lived in Exeter, there were fields and countryside not far away from where I was living. In plenty of the places I lived in Exeter, and where I'm living now in Pagan. Still in Devonshire. Like, I just west of me is Dartmoor, and whenever I'm away from it, I don't feel right. I've moved out of this place into the city a while back. I could not deal with it. It was like living in concrete. It felt like a concrete block was leeching me of vitality. It really did. But that's beside the point. So I looked at it in a natural elemental sense. So was I am I an elementalist, a naturalist? Where do I sit there? I don't know, because no one's been willing to sit with me and discuss this properly. I'm having to do this by myself even though I'm asking for help and I'm basically being treated like a joke. I'm sorry I didn't come from a theistic background. But anyway. So, it occurred to me that the more research I did into gods of cultures around the world, but more primarily that of the Nordic gods, the Germanic gods, and the Celtic gods as much as possible. And I see a lot of elementalism. A lot of it. Don't get me wrong, there are gods of other things as well, but, like Tyr being the god of justice and law. But for me, so, the elements is what we're made of. I'm not going to go into my whole theology again this episode, but if you watch my last video, you will understand what I'm talking about here. Again, I need to have like a web chat with a Zoom chat with someone who knows more than I do, because I'm hitting a fucking wall. I'm not giving up on this because it's, again, I look at the way I used to look at it, and then I look at the way that when look at the reality of polytheism. There's elemental gods. So for example, just do a quick thing here, right? Now we'll go on Anglo-Saxon just for a second, or no, we'll make things simple. We'll just go with the Scandinavian. If we'll do it. No, okay, fine. Do it this way. I could never understand why I couldn't. When it came to gods, I could never understand why why they had to be human. When growing up, I knew that many other forms of life came before us. But I also believe in evolution. So how do I square that? I know there's something other than what science, the tool of science as we know it, can teach us right now. It's why I don't. It's why atheism doesn't. It's so bright. This is why atheism doesn't do it for me. I can't. Yeah, I just, it drives me mad. So hang on. God of. We'll start with fire. Okay, Nordic god of fire. Raw. No, I don't want that. I asked for the Nordic. Oh, do I have to put Viking? I don't like putting Viking. Fuck it. Bloody Google. It still gives me this. Fuck it. So. I'll get down to it. European mythology. Norse. Growth It was okay, fair enough. Jotun, but you know, they're not human. I kind of go with what Ocean Keltoy was saying in one of his videos about this kind of thing, that about angels in that, or you know, how else would you describe it? So the Gloth and Logi is so Gloth is the wife of Logi, to be fair. So we'll go with Logi. Logi is it literally means fire or flame, or Halogi, meaning high flame, is a Jotun, and the personification of fire in Norse mythology. Is the son of the Jotun Fornjortur and the brother of Aegir or Hair and Gari. That's the sea and wind. So his brothers are also fucking elements. You know? Logi married fire giantess Gloth, and she gave birth to their two beautiful daughters, Asa and Aimura. I'm pretty sure that's Aimura. So we got, so what's that? One, two, that's three. And you got yours. You got yours. Yeah? That's Earth. One that does get me, because I listed the elements I believe to be important last episode, right? And there are, for me, from my own perception and experience, there are 7. I'm not saying there are more than gods than that, because again, evolution. But if I put, see, to me, hang on. No, I didn't want Viking God of Death. That's not. I know what that is. That's hell. So, God of Water is Njörð. Yeah. So, I suppose with fire you have to use Jotun, but you know, the Aesir and Jotun have always been fighting for supremacy, haven't they? Have they not? And are they not related? I'm sure that was. I'm sure that that's right in Norse. Going back far enough, the Jotun and the Aesir are related. So yeah. So we'll just quickly look at Gari, Njörð, Odin. So I would stick really with when it comes to I stick with the see Njörð. Yeah. He's water and wind, it seems. But for me, I would differentiate, although it's difficult to do that, I suppose. Again, I need to talk to someone who knows more than I do. Please, someone, Tom, Tom Rousel, Survive the Jive. I've asked him. Ocean, please get back to me, dude. I want to talk. I'm not treating this like a joke. I'm serious about this. I need to get there. But anyway, where I was going next was darkness, right? There is even a god of the dark. Like one of my elements, both my elements out of 7, the 2 elements that I feel closest to, I should say 3 really, but the 2 are in a sense in opposition to each other. Fire and darkness. So you know, I don't know where to go with this. You know, it says here in Old English, Hodor means brave, and in Old Norse the meaning is warrior, and that's great. But you know, Hodor, the god of darkness and winter. Now my last name is fucking Winter. I've never had a problem with the dark. I prefer to be in the dark, in shadow. It, is there any historical proof of worshipping someone like Hodor? But is there an Anglo-Saxon version of Hodor? Let's have a look. See, the closest we can get there is Grendel, but a lot of that Beowulf's story is heavily Christianized, so I don't know how to read that. I find that really difficult. But I would also pay homage to Odin, or Woden, I should say, because of my thirst for knowledge and wisdom. And I've started researching more about praxis. Oh, wow. That was my question. Is there any historical precedence for praxis with Hodor? If anyone knows, please get back to me. Because I don't know where to look. You know, I look. It's not like I'm not looking on a regular basis. I'm trying to research. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to gain knowledge. To gain wisdom. Not only for myself, but to share it. To darken the rest of us. To paraphrase Terry Pratchett there. Cheers, Terry. I hope, you know, I hope I proved to to most of the skeptics at this point that I'm not LARPing. I'm just not. I'm a bit blinded at the moment. Got people trying to shine lights everywhere, and I can't see shit. I need someone to bring things down. I need someone to take me into the dark, into a separate cave. You know, where I can actually see what's going on. I can't. I'm making headway slowly, but it's not fast enough. And I'm not trying to be impatient. I'm getting frustrated because, partly because a lot of, when it comes to Anglo-Saxon stuff especially, a lot of it is, we don't know a lot because of the fucking Christians. That's why Norse and Germanic or Slavic or Hellenic or the old Roman gods are usually attested to these days amongst neo-pagans. Or the Celtic gods even as well. I shouldn't forget about them. They're my brother gods. I am at a point where I'm ready to venerate gods. I just don't know who to. For me, it's fire and darkness. So, who? Again, it's not like I can just latch on to the Scandinavian pantheon, because for me it's about my paganism's also about my own origins. So, and that's more Anglo-Saxon than anything. So I need help, because I can't find the information that I seek, because light is being shone so brightly elsewhere, I can't see anywhere else. I don't know where else to look, because the light is shining in so many places towards other stuff that's related to it but isn't it, that I don't know what to do. You know, I had to rely, again, going back to the name of my path and of my channel, Siarawita. I had to rely on etymology and philology and linguistics to get that. Because this isn't it wasn't in the historical record. I mean, the words were, yeah, but, you know, in the words in the way I mean them didn't exist back then. It's a modern evolution of paganism in that sense. But again, I'm kind of going round in circles when, whilst I'm on here by myself. I just wanted to show, again, this is a bit of a mini series of videos where I'm trying to clarify, not just to myself, but to others around me, on what I actually do believe. Now, as a summary, then, on the second video, what do I believe? Well, So far, I'm convinced that my non-anthropomorphic gods evolved into human shape around about the time that we were thinking, or that we saw, what's the argument? That we started seeing the divine in nature. I think that's how that's said. And again, you have to understand that I'm coming from a science background. I'm coming from a background of understanding the world through a lens of social evolution, cultural evolution, biological evolution. Now, I'm seeing gods through theistic evolution. But at the same time, it's not like it's not like I'm in a place where I can deny the anthropomorphic gods. I can now rationalize Dunor being the anthropomorphized representation, the anthropomorphized form of electricity, of the element of electricity. And having evolved alongside humans over these many thousands of years, he's taken many names, and he's also taken on many other descriptions, and he's also taken on other attributes. There have been split-offs, So, I don't think I can be looked down on. So, don't know. Just want to double check. Again, with like I said, the Anglo-Saxon ones are so poorly attested, and only really understand them from Christian sources. So, Earth. Oh, actually, yeah, no, I've seen that elsewhere. Earth. And instead of a god, that's a goddess, from what I can gather. So that's Erche, Fulde, or Irde, sorry. Irde. So, whereas in the Norse tradition, it would have been Jorth, or Jorth. I guess I'm not sure where I'm getting that. It's my Devonshire accent. Anyway. But in Old English, that's Jorth. So I've got my earth. I've got my lightning. I've got my electricity. Let's have a look. Anglo-Saxons had Bealdo. Not Baldo, Bealdo. Again, I need to have. This is just a quick going over. So that's electricity, earth, and light so far. Water. Water was the Anglo-Saxon pagan god of the sea. So I got water. It's probably where we get the fucking word. But you know. Right. This fire is the difficult one. I don't know. See Wraith, but is that not an earth? Would she not be? Would Wraith not be attested more to earth, like the earth or Yustra? Hang on a second. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to be. I think fire. You'd have to. I think I would have to use sonar, soul, sooner. I think sooner would have to be. My god of fire. Yeah, I don't see anything else here. Destinations. Right, hang on. I'm looking through a list of Germanic gods across the board. For something attested to fire. But I have a feeling what I'm gonna get is what I've already had. Yeah. Again, I need to talk to someone who knows more than I do about this. Because I'm a little bit lost when it comes to a god of fire, I think. Not unless I just... not unless soul or sunna is the answer to this. Otherwise, I'm a little bit confused. So, we've got Earth, Vinda, we've got wind, we've got Earth, air, light, darkness, wasn't it? That's going to be a difficult one. I don't know if there was an Anglo-Saxon version of Hodor. And that's going to do my head in. Woden would be being the sky god. I could see him, but I pay veneration to Woden anyway, for the simple fact of and I have done for almost a year. The first god I really gave way to was Woden, for my love of knowledge and wisdom and thirst for it. But it doesn't seem like I'm going to get an answer off of Google. And I'm not just looking at Wikipedia, by the way. I am reading. I'm reading a hell of a lot very quickly. Not just speed reading, but actually properly reading very quickly. No. So, what's my list so far? I've got Wada for water. Woden. Deer. Yours. Baldur. Dunor. I'm missing one for the dark and one for fire. And well, again, I need someone to talk to me with. I need someone to go over this with me. So, fire. Do I pray, or do I give blessings to Sunna in terms of fire? Where do I look in terms of Anglo-Saxon? Or do I go down the Celtic side of things because of that part of my origin? Yes, I know it's supposed to be an individual thing, but I need help. I'm understanding a lot more. And again, it's not like all I wanted to do really here was with these videos was to clear up this stuff, because I'm getting myself into a quagmire and putting these videos out there. Hopefully, I'll get the attention of someone and it can help. And I also think that the fact that I'm a pagan that's come from a background that from not an atheist, just a non-theist background, not even an atheist background, just a not atheist as in anti-theist, like I'd see many atheists treat either any theist. I believe in gods. It's just the way I believe in gods has evolved. It has changed. I just need help with my path going forwards. So this is gonna be me for now. Ocean, Tom, if either of you watch this, please get back to me. You know, anyone else, anyone has any ideas, please help. I'm at a point of proper frustration. As I said, so many lights leading to so many places that don't give me the answers that I'm looking for. So why don't follow the lights? To paraphrase good old Smeagol. Anyway, this has been Shadow Eater, one angry pagan. Yeah, this wasn't an angry video. It's just a. I'm not a LARPer. I do believe in many gods. It's just I haven't come at this from the same origin that most others seem to have, and I think this deserves further discussion. I really do. So, God weird say all, and blessed Thursday from Shadow Eater, one angry pagan, and from Freya, and from Lady Sif. Good night.